Hello and welcome to Through Africa. It is still me, your host, Mercy Bamgbala, and today we're joining you live from our studios here in Ankara, Turkey, to continue our discussions on the Ghana elections. And today we'll be talking specifically on the international perspective. To analyze this topic, I'll be speaking with Ishmael Adjei, who is a PhD candidate at who is also studying international relations as a PhD candidate. So, Mr. Ishmael, hello and welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, and thank you.
You're welcome. So I'll just like us to go directly into the discussion. Talking about the Ghana elections, we know it's just less than 2 weeks into the start of the elections, and this is the presidential election and then the parliamentary election at the same time. What impacts might the election outcome have on the Ghana's foreign policy priorities, particularly in terms of the trade and investment?
Okay, thank you very much. So when we look at the Ghana, before that, when you look at Ghana foreign policy, Ghana has a very friendly foreign policy that has a very close relation with its neighboring countries, for instance. So even just after the independence, Ghana practiced some kind of open door policy that was attracting some other African leaders who were trying to secure their political independence from respective countries. So looking at it from that way, it's something that has shaped how Ghana deal with its relation with the other countries. And then coming back to the trade issue, for instance, Ghana has been trading with different partners for a long time. And currently, when you look at the trade volume, Ghana is trading massively with China. I think when you check the statistics at the end of 2023, the highest was from China. China was having about 20% trade with Ghana. EU, Switzerland was having 12%. Other countries where US and India was having 5%. So when you look at the trade increase, it has kind of increased with respect to different countries, and then different government kind of shape or have different trade partners. But how will it be shaped with a new government? So the point is that the most important thing is the political stability of the country. So if there is a stable political atmosphere, investors might not be scared to invest. So in this case, we aim to see that the new government will have a friendly policy that will attract foreign direct investment, because if there is stability, investors might not be scared. And one important thing that we should also understand is that we should understand the legal system. For example, let's say a particular country or a particular investor is investing, and the person knows the stability, and then if the person knows that how to deal with certain issue with regards to legal issue, when the company has a problem with legal problem, it can be easily be solved. So since there is a stable atmosphere, I think if it continues after the election, I think investors might not be scared in investing. And when you look at the other countries, because of different discrepancies in their political stabilities, it's kind of Ghana has been attracting or using its political stability to achieve a lot of or to attract a lot of investors, because they have the trust in the atmosphere that if they are investing, it means it's not going to be lost, or they are not going to lose their investment. So these are some of the things that the new government or the new administration will be focusing on. But however, looking at the positive side, we also know that a change of government, though when you look at the main political party and the main political party, parties, the opposition and then the incumbent, the main opposition and the incumbent, it might happen that there might be a shift in where they attract investors, or the kind of investors that they may attract. And there might be an issue of maybe a new government may try to change certain contracts, but in our case, it might all deal with the legal system. So if there is a new political party or a new government trying to change a contract of an existing company, it might also lead to maybe a legal issue that the legal or the court system might have to solve those issues. But the most important thing is that with the stability will help investors to pop in, and then foreign direct investment might also be something of beneficial to the country if it's continuing with this stability or its stable atmosphere. So for basically that is how we should be looking at it with regards to the trade and investment aspect. The most important thing is the political stability and then transparency in the system. So if there is a transparency and then there's stability, and also it will shape or it will help the regulation and also ensure administrative efficiency. So with all, these are some of the things that may attract investors.
Okay, so when we talk about investors and how trade can be actually fostered, let's talk about international organizations and foreign governments. So what role do you think international organizations and foreign governments play in supporting free and fair elections in Ghana?
Okay, so when you look at a foreign investment, foreign organization or international organization, so when you look at elections all over the world, so there are always countries, or there are also always election observers from the in the African continent, from the AU, from ECOWAS, from the United Nations, or from the EU. So this organization help in monitoring the election to see that like everything is going on in the right order. There's no discrepancies. There is no disturbances. So they monitor to check everything, if everything is going on well. So the most important thing, why do they do this? They do this with the aim of promoting the democracy. So, and in this case, they support the countries, or they support Ghana in capacity building. So there are several society organizations that are being helped to educate people on election, how their vote counts, how they should pay attention to their vote and all those things. So the international organization, they do this in regards with diplomatic pressures putting on the government to put up the stable atmosphere. So the foreign organization help with capacity building, ensuring financial support for the government in areas where they need electoral support, or educating the voters on the right issue. And when you look at Ghana, Ghana has been a very important when it comes to election observers. So the former presidents of Ghana, for example, Kufuor administration, when Jerry John Lawrence was AU chairman, for instance, he ensured stability after the Liberian War. Liberia is around that time. And Kufuor time, when you remember 2007, when after the election and the post-election route of Kenya, it was Kufuor who was the AU chairman. So he intervened. So he intervened, and I think that time the former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan was also on retirement, but Kufuor intervened to bring him in to ensure stability. So these are some of the things. Ghana do those things outside, and equally other countries also help in monitoring to see that the democracy prevails. So because the most important aspect of this election is to ensure that the democracy continues. Because when you see Ghana, its democracy has been something that has been witnessed with regards to the other African countries. So it's something that they keep to the foreign organization or the foreign countries try to monitor to ensure that the stability or the democratic consolidation continues with regards to Ghana's case.
All right, Ishmael, I'm glad that you actually mentioned the democracy of Ghana, because this next question I want to ask you is about the Ghanaian democracy. So what does this coming election say about the state of democracy now generally in Africa, not just in Ghana, particularly at the time when, most countries are experiencing coup d'etats and democratic degradation? What does this election say about the democracy of Africa?
Okay, so when we look at Ghana, as some people classify Ghana as a peaceful island. So Ghana, of course, Ghana has also had its taste of coup d'etats from the 1960s to 80s. where it has 5 successful coups. We don't dispute that fact. But after 1992, since 1992, Ghana has been a stable democracy, or let's say we can say consolidated democracy, for which it has had successful change of government since 1992. That the current constitution of Ghana from 1992, there hasn't been any political coup d'etat after 1992. So the last coup ended in 80s, in the 1981, when the last coup was and from there, most countries in West Africa, for instance, we can see in the light of Mali, the light of Niger, the light of Burkina Faso, where currently there's coup d'etat or the being ruled by the military regime. So Ghana's ability to showcase that its democracy is something that is called for, is something that we are all hoping for, and we need to consider in this election. And this set as an example for other countries to monitor how Ghana democracy has been stable. Because when you look at the African context, for example, currently we can see what is going on in Mozambique. Mozambique has been, after the election, the opposition, the main opposition, and then the current incumbent government has been rout. So there has been 5 weeks of protest. That has led to assassination of some opposition leaders and some killing of some other civilians or some people. So this is not what we are expecting in Ghana. So with the Ghana case, everybody, the eyes are on Ghana to see that Ghana will showcase that kind of consolidation, that kind of atmosphere where the elections are always kind of free and fair. Of course, there is nothing like absence of routes or absence of disturbances in election. But one interesting case about a Ghanaian case is that most of the time, I remember 2012, after the election, there was an issue, but it was resolved in court. So if you remember when I was talking about it in the earlier submission, where we are looking at the stability and then the trust in the judicial system or the court system. So if the ability or the confidence of the party, for example, currently about 13 political parties are contesting the presidential election. So their ability to be able to assure that, or they are confident that if there is anything, it can be resolved in court, will also set an example to other African countries, to even beyond Africa, that election, anything after election, it can be resolved in the court, and that's we are looking at the stability where Ghana is showcasing that is a beacon of democracy, or is a peaceful. It has that kind of peace after the election or electional routes. So these are some of the things.
So finally, sorry to cut you there, Ishmael. Just because of our time, I would just like to ask you a very final question. How might the newly elected government influence Ghana's stance on global issues like, climate change, migration, and international development?
Okay, so the newly elected governments that we for example, the main political opposition party, they have put up their manifestos, they have showcase what they aim to do, and all these are something that we all hope to see to transform Ghana with respect to development. Because when we are looking at elections or new leader or a government, the government should be able to serve the interest of the people, right? And as not only the interest of the people, it go beyond the domestic borders. So issues like climate change has become a very interesting or a very worrying issue that everybody care about. And Ghana has put in some measures with regards to climate. For example, in 2013, it adopted its climate change policy. But what we need is that Ghana needs to shape and put more effort towards, let's say, the Paris Agreement in the full implementation of various policy framework or various issues with regards to the policies or with mechanism that the Paris Agreement hope to achieve. And also, when we look at the migration issue, of course, migration is a very important issue for Ghana, because Ghana receive a lot of remittances from migrants abroad. So what is important for the new government is to focus more on the regular or decent pathway for people to migrate. Of course, the mechanisms are there, but with regards to migration, sometimes it's the individual issue. Although the government of Ghana has some programs that they have a exchange of health workers with other countries, bilateral agreement. But what we are looking at is that Ghana should try to conform or try to implement the objective of the Global Compact for Migration, for instance, and with it also pay more attention to the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, to also showcase its contribution to or its measures to promote development or to sustain development. So with the new government, we expect the new government to cooperate better or to cooperate with international organizations, relevant or respective international organization on issues regards to climate issue, sustainable development. And when you look at even the climate change, for instance, also we have also seen that the climate impact is also influencing people to even migrate. So not only hardship within the agricultural sectors or the other, but the climate change is also forcing people to cross border. Okay, though it's minimal with regards to Ghana, where people might go to different countries because of maybe changes in the agricultural pattern. Or let's say it's also like when you look at other parts of African countries, especially those from the Sahel, some people are also moving to Ghana for like especially the herdsmen, the livestock or the livestock herdsmen, for instance. So what we expect Ghana to do is that to have a strong cooperation with, let's say, in the sub-region or ECOWAS sub-region, where they can promote or they can focus more on how climate-driven migration are also measures to govern or measures to support climate migrants. So these are some of the things with regard, aside from the international or beyond African scope, we expect Ghana to build strong bond with the African Union, with the ECOWAS, with regards to climate impact, because the impact of climate change is something that we cannot deny. It's affecting a whole lot of change, though compared to other continents that we might say the impact or the impact in Ghana is not seen as compared to other countries, but that is not what is important now. What is important now is for Ghana
Ishmael?
to cooperate better with other countries. Yes, Mercy.
All right, thank you very much. We've talked about the impact. I think mainly we talked about the impact of climate change and what we hope that the next government does better than than the former government. So thank you very much for coming on the program. We would just like to end it here because of our time. Thank you for your time and your
thank you for
contributions.
Having me. And thank you for your beautiful audience for listening to us. Thank you so much.
And with that, we've come to the end of today's program. It is still me, your host, Mercy Bamgwela. If you would like to send us questions or suggestions, you can do so through our number, which is always on the screen. And I'll see you in the next one. So stay safe and goodbye.